My blessings and love to you all. I am Aaron. I'm here to share a story with you as you enter this holiday period. Let's call it the greatest gift. What is the greatest gift? Certainly not wealth. But what is it? Love. What is love? Let me tell you my story. In this holiday season, I'm going to share a story of time with Yeshua. I loved this man, this friend. And whenever he was near, I would try to take time off and to go and see him. At this time, I was traveling with my young son, Mark, a 12-year-old boy. Yeshua was further than I usually traveled, but I came to see him because I was heartbroken and I didn't know what to do. My wife had just died in childbirth, leaving me with Mark, 4 other children, and a newborn infant. Yes, I could be a father. I could find a way to take care of these children. But the love of my life had died. The light of my life was gone. And I did not think I could survive that loss. Mark came with me. The children went to stay with a relative, including the infant, who I knew would be very well cared for. So I felt free to leave. And other shepherds were taking care of my flocks and my garden. We walked for many days, and it was a joy to be with this maturing son. I could even lose the reality of the dead wife, and for Mark, his dead mother, for a few minutes at a time, but both of us were grieving seriously. One night, we had not gotten as far as we hoped to find a safe and comfortable, sheltered place to sleep. It had grown dark. So we walked on a bit further in the dark, pushing myself against my wisdom's voice. I was walking ahead. There was a place where there had apparently been a landslide off the trail. And so I stepped blindly into it and fell about 15 feet down into a ravine. I shouted for Mark to stop even as I slid. I lay at the bottom, not fatally injured in any way, but with a badly broken leg. Mark carefully slid down to me. He wrapped me in blankets. He bound my leg. And we sheltered there through the night as best we could. In the morning, other travelers coming down the path stopped to help us. We were fortunate in that, as they could instead have simply robbed us or even murdered us. Those were the way of those times. You never knew whether people would be loving or not loving. This is really true of the world then and now. But I understood that when I expected people to be loving, I could help to draw the love out of them even if they were caught up in fear or anger. So these two people who stopped to help us, two men, dressed very poorly, what you might call highwaymen. I wanted Mark to hide, lest they hurt him, but he said no. And he climbed up to the top of the slope to stop them and said, "My father has fallen, his leg is broken. I need to get him back up to the trail. Will you help us?" One of the men bound my leg more securely than Mark had, using a stick, several sticks, and binding it. And then, while it was very painful, it was manageable. They got me up to the trail and said, "Now what?" To Mark, he said, "Thank you." And he gave them some of the food we had by way of thanks. And they went on their way. About 2 hours later, one of these men came back with a mule, pulling a small cart. "Where did you find this?" He said, "In the village." I told him there was a man with a broken leg. I asked for help and someone gave the help. I promised him that the mule and cart would be returned. It was a spindly mule. It was a shabby cart, but it worked. The man and Mark lifted me into the cart. I gave the man some money and asked him to give it to the one who had loaned us the mule and cart, and that we would bring it back, that I was going to see Yeshua, and then we would bring it back. So Mark was able to carry me in this way. And in another several days' walk, we came to the place where Yeshua was staying with a number of his followers. But this time I was in very bad pain, body and spirit. Not only losing my wife, but now afraid the leg won't heal. I was only going to be away for a few days. What will happen? My children, my sheep? So I was in this state of fear when Yeshua came into sight, and he embraced me, my brother. We had much love for each other. You probably have heard some of my stories of our boyhood time together. He had men lift me gently off the cart, carry me into a dwelling place, simple thatch-roofed dwelling. Lie me on soft straw, really, a pallet made of straw, but comfortable, very comfortable. Cover me with blankets. Food was brought to us both. That first night I was running a high fever, and he sat with me through the night. I could feel the power of his energy enfolding, embracing, and good soup. Other friends came and went also. Mark was taken care of course, fed and given a place to sleep beside me in that hut. In the morning, I begged Yeshua, you can heal this. I know you can heal it. Heal it for me, so I can go back to my children and my sheep. He put his hand on my shoulder. He said, it will heal. Be patient. It will heal. I noticed that first morning the pain was really almost gone. The fever was gone. And I thought, but tomorrow I'll get up and walk. No. It will take about 6 weeks to heal. But Yeshua, you can heal it like that. 6 weeks, it will heal. Now I knew it wouldn't take 6 weeks. Why was he doing this to me? I knew even I could manifest a faster healing, knowing what I did about resting in the ever-perfect and inviting healing. We stayed there for about 2 days. I was very impatient. My family, my sheep, the borrowed mule and cart. He said, Mark will return the mule and cart and walk on home. One of these brothers will go with him. We know he is just a boy. We will not send him alone. But when he gets home, he is a shepherd. He can take care of the sheep. He is growing into a man now. And your family is well taken care of, and he will tell them all what happened, and that you will be home in 6 weeks. There was nothing I could do. I could not walk on the leg. I could not force him to heal it, to perform a miracle. So I embraced Mark, and he left. The days went by, and my focus shifted from the broken leg to the broken heart. Every day, Yeshua spent time with me. Another mule and comfortable cart were found, so that when the whole group moved to another place, I was easily brought with them. Comfortable. And every day, Yeshua asked me to talk to him about my wife, what I loved about her, to see that she still existed in my heart. I could not lose her. And so, as the leg healed, the heart healed. I know Yeshua could have miraculously healed that leg, supported the healing of it. And I would have gone back filled with anger and grief. The heart needed time to heal. And Yeshua understood that I would run back and push myself into the effort to take over and do what it needed to be done. So in a sense, he forced me to stay there. The greatest gift was his love and the love of all of those around me. So many people, they came and sat by me, they talked to me, not only Yeshua, but others, drawing my love for my wife out to the surface. I had hidden it because it was too painful, allowing me to remember that I carried her here. helping me to find joy and faith again. Yeshua is and was such a strong reflection of the divine that being in his presence, it's impossible to forget the power of love and the healing power of love. I had forgotten in my grief, but as it came back, finally there came the day when I knew, when I am ready to go back, I will not go back with anger and fear. Sadness, yes. Sadness and grief are different. Sadness and joy balance each other. The ability to know sadness, to open one's heart to loss, is very powerful. And when the heart is open that way, it can receive joy. But I knew that I was not putting grief grounded in anger. Why did this happen? They should have been able to save her. Not fair. No. Just gratitude for the years I had spent with her. Love in my heart for her, and knowing that I could love again. Maybe not taking a new wife, but I could love my children, I could love my friends and neighbors. And I could love in a new relationship if that showed up. The heart open, the greatest gift of love and receiving that love. It was very interesting. As this shift happened, and one morning I said to Yeshua, my heart is so open. I really think the grief and anger are gone. And he smiled and said, yes, I think so too. We sat there, me and on a bench with my leg elevated. The splint still tied around it, but I did not put weight on it. Yeshua looked at me and said, yes, I think you're ready. And he unbound the splint from my leg. He said, now stand up and walk. I haven't walked for 6 weeks. Will it hold me? No fear. Come back to the loving heart. Know that it is healed. Know that it will hold you. And so I stood up and I walked. Of course, the body was weak from a period of not walking. I did not set off to return home immediately. My first impulse actually was, now I can walk, I must go home. Yeshua said, no. You need time for the body to fully strengthen. So another week, 10 days, strengthening the body. And then finally it was time to say goodbye. Carrying with me this greatest gift, the gift of love. This is what I wish you in this holiday season. May love light your hearts, so much that it brims over and is shared with the whole world. May you find the joy of loving and being loved. I love you very much.